I love horror. Welcome back to Conquest of Fred. I'm Fred, and this video starts a new era for the channel. For a long time, I've wanted to do more than just gaming. I specifically have wanted to do commentary, but it's kind of hard to just jump in to doing commentary videos. So what I'm going to do is just jump in to doing commentary videos. Every year for October, I usually do 31 horror movies in 31 days. And this year, I'm going to do reviews for all of them. We won't be focused very much on really intense editing. I kind of just want to get them done quickly and post them because I am watching these on each day. So I'll probably do a little bit of splicing in footage from the movies, and I will mostly just be talking about how much I like it, what about it I like, what it's trying to say, basically anything that I want to talk about in the movie. So, with all of that said, our first movie is... So, obviously, full spoilers for every movie that I cover on this channel. I'll probably say that in every video, but this is one in particular that needs a spoiler warning. If you haven't seen it and you think you want to at all, I mean, it's too crazy. The ending is too bananas, but also the most important part to the movie. So, you can watch it. It's on Hulu as of October 1st, 2020. Alright, so let's get into the plot. We open the movie on a facility of some sort. We see Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins, and they are basically doing mundane office chit-chat with their coworkers, and everything is fairly normal.
So you want to come over Monday night? I'm going to pick up some power drills, liberate my cabinets. Are you even listening to me?
And then we smash cut to the introduction of our young people. So, these 5 young people all have names, but their names don't matter because they are archetypes. So, who are these archetypes? Well, they are 1. The athlete, played by Chris Hemsworth. The whore, played by Anna Hutchison. The scholar, played by Jesse Williams. The fool, played by Fran Kranz. And the virgin, played by Kristen Connolly. So, they're going to a cabin in the woods that the athlete's cousin has recently purchased. When we, as an audience, get to the cabin in the woods, we find out that everything there is under the control of Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins. Even the creepy harbinger that tells them that if they go up there, they're gonna die, he's also part of it. That night, all the characters start acting more like their archetypes, and the athlete and the whore get all horned up. The virgin starts acting really shy, even though we have already been introduced to her the fact that she had an affair with her professor. The scholar is there. And the stoner, the fool, thinks that things are off. He notices. It's wrong. So during a game of Truth or Dare, Bradley Whitford and Richard Jenkins bang open a trapdoor to a basement full of creepy stuff.
Cellar door.
So the kids go into the basement and they start fiddling with all these creepy artifacts that are down there. And basically, whichever one they choose is the way they're all going to die. So when the virgin reads a pioneer girl's diary and the Latin spell in it, zombie redneck murder family climbs out of the ground. But the kids don't know that, and the athlete and the whore go to the woods to do sex. And that's where they get attacked by the zombies. He gets injured and she gets decapitated, and then the others get separated. The fool finds a surveillance device, but then he gets killed. The others try to escape, but the athlete and the scholar get killed. The people in the lab, who we have been cutting back and forth to frequently throughout the movie so far, are celebrating a successful sacrifice, while basically the virgin overcomes the patriarch of the murder redneck family zombies, whatever they call them. The fool comes and saves her. Guess what? He wasn't dead yet. Yay! So they beat up the zombies and they find their way into an elevator. The elevator takes them down underground where they find a whole bunch of other kinds of monsters in cages and elevators that look just like their own. And then they stumble into the facility. Now that they're in the facility, they find all the people that were in charge of torturing them. They set free all the monsters, kill all the soldiers and workers at the torture factory, and then they run into the sacrificial font. Then, out of nowhere, Sigourney Weaver walks up and explains the whole plot of the movie, and that the 5 of them were sacrifices to some ancient evil gods that live underground.
What if you don't pull it off?
They rise.
Who does? What's beneath us?
The ancient ones. The gods that used to rule the earth.
And that all of the other countries where they also do this to other children and teenagers, they're all failing, but the United States, well, we the best. Except, no, because if the fool doesn't die before the virgin, then it's all over. And the evil gods are going to destroy the whole world. Well, they fight Sigourney Weaver and kill her, and then they condemn the earth to destruction. The end. What's this movie about? Let's kind of dig into what the movie is and who made it. This is the Joss Whedon film. This is the movie basically where he took all of his stuff that he likes and he was like, we're going to do that in this movie, and it doesn't really matter if it makes sense. And I don't think it works. Let's talk about it. Joss Whedon loves to project himself as this feminist writer and director. Obviously, if you follow him and his personal antics, you know that he has been accused of like grooming fans and being ultra creepy to women, and guess what? I'm not surprised based on the content of his work. I've watched all of Buffy. I like it. I've watched all of Firefly. I like it. I've watched most of his work. Dollhouse Angel, all of it, whatever. And he puts this veneer of empowering women at the forefront of his movies, but then finds a way to fall into tropes that he treats like he is commentating on. However, how much of a commentary can it be if you have practically back-to-back sexualization scenes of the whore? Also, we're using the word whore every time in this movie. Yay! That's... not so fun. My hair is all green because of the green screen. This is some creepy stock footage, by the way. We see the whore do a sexy walk up and make out with the decapitated head of a wolf. We see her do a sexy dance in front of a window and, like, threaten to do sex stuff to the fool. It was pretty weird. And then she and the athlete go out into the woods to have sex with each other. Fine. This is part of horror movies. I get that. It's implied that they are trying to make a commentary out of this whole thing. In fact, when that sex scene starts, Joss intentionally draws our attention to how creepy the whole scenario is, because all the guys in the facility. So in the beginning of the sex scene, Joss draws our attention to how creepy the whole scenario is, because all the guys at the facility are like ogling the scene and cheering for the whore to take off her clothes. And so we're supposed to be uncomfortable. And then Bradley Whitford explains to the new guy, who, hey, pretty inconsequential to the plot, that's a problem. But the new guy explains that their employers, or whatever, the audience, are people who want to see the tropes play out. Obviously he's referring to these gods that they're trying to placate with their sacrifices. The problem with this, and with Joss claiming to be this excellent feminist creator, is that it's ultimately just a way to get around sexualizing this teenager. Well, I mean, obviously she's not a teenager, she's an adult. I don't know. It's all so muddled. But he wants to do that while also getting away with it. It's frustrating. The fool, the stoner, is the hero. Also, he's the hero because he's the hero because he smokes so much weed that the drugs that the people underground use on him don't work. But then is he the hero for real? Because at the end, he ultimately is the one that condemns the earth and humanity. It ends with the virgin and the fool, together saying it's time that humanity ends. And at this point in the movie, I agree with them. What good is humanity if we're just the playthings of these ancient evil gods that live underground? If they require us to sacrifice not only people, but those people's free will, is it really worth it? That's really the question at the heart of this movie. And it's hollow. It's not for me. This is such a difficult movie because it's well made. It is a lot of fun. The humor hits hard. Just almost every single joke rules. I'm such a big fan of everything in this movie except for the ending. Even the problematic stuff. Even the stuff that I kind of cringe at and say, Joss, what are you doing? There is one scene that I think is an unintentional metaphor in this movie, and that's the one where Jesse Williams, the scholar, takes a creepy old painting off of the wall and finds that there's a one-way mirror behind it where he can see the Virgin taking her shirt off. And it's an unintentional metaphor because it basically sums up Joss Whedon's feminism. Because Jesse Williams ogles her for an uncomfortably long time, before then doing the right thing and telling her that, hey, there's something going on here and I can see you and you shouldn't take all your clothes off. But what that does is it excuses the first part by saying, well, but he's woke. And it's not a very coherent move because now we're still supposed to like him even though he didn't stop her right away when he should have. It's such a difficult thing to get over early. One other thing is that the co-writer and director of this film is named Drew Goddard, and he did a much better film called Bad Times at the El Royale, which I love. Chris Hemsworth is my guy. He's great. And Bad Times was awesome. I may, in the future on this channel, talk about that movie because it is super fun. Joss is the nerd's nerd, right? His whole thing is like, I read books, and while you were playing sports ball, I was reading books. And to illustrate that, he has the athlete do a daring escape to help protect everybody, and he dies. I mean, it's a funny scene. Again, the humor hits. It's good. The meaning falls short. So let's get to the way that I'm going to score these movies that I'm doing. I may change the scoring system as we go, so maybe the numbers will shift a little bit, and maybe I will create like a ranking system as I watch all these movies. Also, I'm going to be watching some that I've seen before. When it's ones that I've seen before, it's because I like them, and when it's ones that I haven't seen before, it's because they are classics that I am interested in. I'm not interested in watching like the Meat Room movies. No thank you to a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That I haven't seen it, but I don't need to see it. I get it. I'm not a slasher fan, so we're gonna skip all the Nightmare on Elm Streets and Friday the 13th and whatever. But so far I have come up with a metric that is along four different metrics. Each one out of 10. I'm going to say, is it a technically good film? Is it a scary film? Does it have a good purpose? What is the metaphor? Does that get across what they're intending to get across? Or can I even tell what they're trying to get across? Which, it's hard to say in this one. And the fourth one, which is the huge redeemer for this, is fun. How much do I like watching these movies? So, let's just go in that order. Scares. Is it scary? Yeah, honestly, the scenes where the zombies are actually doing the torture murders, they're pretty unsettling. The gore is intense. They leave enough to the imagination that, like, when the whore gets decapitated, it hides that shot, but later they show her head, and her best friend throws the head on the floor. It's got shiny moments. That said, it's a really slow build up to that when I'm strictly talking about the scare factor, and then as soon as they get into the elevator, it stops being scary and it starts being actiony, and then it starts being kind of monologue-y. So it loses some points there. I'm going to say for the scare factor, I am doing the scores right now. For the scare factor, we're gonna say 6 out of 10. Technique. Is it a competently made film? Yeah, 100%. This is a 9 out of 10. The camera work, the lighting, all the props and costumes, all of the gore effects, it's great. I love this movie. Purpose. What is the meaning of this film? It's too muddled. It doesn't make any sense. It's got mixed metaphors. It does not hold up the first viewing, let alone the several viewings that I've done. I say this, loving this movie. I'm giving this a 3 out of 10 in meaning. Fun, though. It's great. All these characters have a lot of fun, except for the scholar. I don't know why Joss just chose to not write Jesse Williams' character. That was a waste of a star. Obviously, I don't like Jesse Williams is not the greatest actor in the world, but he is much, much better than what this movie shows. He basically gets relegated to hot guy and he ogles the Virgin, and that's it. That's almost his entire role. His death is insignificant. Everything he does up until his death just doesn't seem to change anything. So yeah, big negative on that. I went off on a tangent. We're talking about how fun this movie is, and for the waste of Jesse Williams, we are going to go with 9. So it loses a point, but I love this movie and I will watch it again and again and again because it is so much fun. So, our score for this movie is 27 out of 40. It is the first one in this series, so maybe that scale is going to change. Maybe I'm going to add an extra metric. If I do, I'll let you know, and I will give you the updates in later videos. One other thing, I mentioned the new guy at the facility, and he's like an audience stand-in because he basically is looking at what they're doing and having a problem with it, or at least feeling conflicted in some way, especially when he starts to see the employees placing bets on the way that the kids are going to die. But his death is completely insignificant. A group of random zombies, not the redneck murder zombies, just start ripping him apart, and so he explodes himself with a grenade. I mean, it was a pretty cool effect, but it didn't make any sense. It didn't add anything to the movie. Again, I think that this is just another case of wasted potential in a character. If the ending were different and the movie were longer, we could have gotten more exposition with the characters. We could have cared more about the teens. We could have cared more about the people in the facility. I don't really have a reason to care about any of these people. The thing that keeps me coming back are the funny jokes, the good effects, and just the all-around enjoyment of watching a deconstruction of a horror film, even if it kind of just does a lot of things by rote. Yeah. So there it is. That's my review. Hopefully this video isn't too long. I've been recording for a long time. This is day 1. Come back again tomorrow for day 2. Alright, bye y'all.